There is a path behind the house where I grew up that I have not walked in 30 years. I think about it sometimes late in the evening, when the house is quiet and the light outside turns that particular shade of gold that only comes in autumn. I think about the gravel under my shoes, the way the old oak tree leaned a little to the left, as if it were listening to something the rest of us could not hear. And I think about my mother, walking beside me, slowly, one hand resting on my arm. She was 81 years old that autumn. I was 53. I remember feeling, in those days, that I was a very busy man. And I suppose I was. I had a business to run, grandchildren to help with, phone calls to return. The world moves fast when you are in the middle of your life. You think you are managing everything. You think you have things under control. But looking back now, I understand that I was missing something important, something that was right there beside me, asking for very little. It began on a Tuesday. I had driven to my mother's house to help her sort through some boxes in the spare room, old letters, photographs, things that had sat undisturbed for decades. She had been living alone since my father passed, and though she was steady on her feet and sharp in her mind, I worried about her in the quiet way that sons do. When I arrived, she was already at the door. She had her coat on, her good coat, the blue one she kept for church and for special occasions. She had her hat on, too, the soft gray one with the small ribbon. She looked, and I remember this so clearly, she looked like she was going somewhere. I thought, she said very calmly, that today we might walk instead. I thought, she said very calmly, that today we might walk instead. I looked at the car. I looked at my watch. I thought about the boxes in the spare room. And then I looked at my mother, at the quiet expectation in her eyes, at the careful way she had dressed herself for this moment. And I said, "All right, Mama, let's walk." We went down the front steps together, her hand in the crook of my arm. We turned left, away from the road, toward the old path that ran along the back fields. I had not been on that path in years. To me, it was simply the way I used to walk to school as a boy. To my mother, I would come to understand, it was something much more than that. She walked slowly. She always had in those later years. But that day, her slowness felt different to me. It did not feel like limitation. It felt like intention. She was not walking slowly because she could not go faster. She was walking slowly because she wanted to see everything. She stopped at the old fence post where a climbing rose still grew, gone to hips and thorns by that time of year. She touched it gently with a gloved hand. "Your grandfather planted that," she said. "Did I ever tell you that?" She had, many times. But I said, "Tell me again." She told me about her own father, a quiet man who loved growing things, who had planted that rose the year she was born. She told me how she used to cut the flowers for the table every June, how the scent of them would drift through the kitchen window. She told me things I had heard before and things I had never heard, small, particular things that you can only learn from someone who was there. We walked on, past the old stone wall, past the place where the field dips down toward the creek, past the silver birch tree that my father had carved their initials into back when they were young and the world was new. My mother stopped there. She put her free hand on the bark over those old carved letters. "He was a good man," she said softly. Not to me, really. Just to the air, just to the tree. I did not say anything. Sometimes there is nothing to say. We were out for nearly 2 hours that afternoon. 2 hours that I had not planned, had not scheduled, had not made room for. And yet I cannot think of a single other afternoon in that whole busy decade of my life that I remember as clearly or as completely as that one. She told me about her childhood, about the winters when food was scarce and her mother made soup from whatever was left in the garden, about the teacher at her school who had been cruel to her once and how she had cried all the way home, about the dance where she had first seen my father, standing by the door, a little nervous, hat in his hands, about how she had known, even then. She told me about her fears, too, the quiet ones she had never spoken aloud before. She said she hoped she had been a good enough mother. She said she was sorry for the times she had been too tired, too distracted, too caught in her own worries. She looked at me with those clear gray eyes and she said, "I just want you to know that every good thing I ever did, I did because I loved you children." I had to stop walking for a moment after that. I pretended to look at something in the distance, an old habit of mine. By the time we turned for home, the light was beginning to go. That golden autumn light I mentioned. It fell on everything softly, on the fields, on the path, on my mother's blue coat. She was tired, I could see that, but she was content. There was a quietness about her that afternoon, a settled peace that I have thought about many times since. At the door, before we went inside, she squeezed my hand. "Thank you," she said, "for walking with me," as if I had given her something. My mother passed away the following spring, peacefully, in her own bed, with family nearby. The boxes in the spare room we sorted through together over the winter, slowly, without any rush, with many cups of tea and many stories. I am grateful for every one of those afternoons. But it is the walk I think about most. The walk I almost did not take. The 2 hours I very nearly gave to something else, to a meeting, to a phone call, to the endless doing of things that felt urgent at the time and that I could not tell you anything about today. What I learned that afternoon, truly learned, in the way that stays with you, is that the people we love are not waiting for us to do something extraordinary. They are not waiting for a grand gesture or a perfect moment. They are standing at the door, in their good coat, with their hat on. They are asking for a walk. And if we are wise, if we are paying attention, we will put down whatever we are carrying and go. The first lesson is this: slow down and walk beside the people you love. I was a busy man that Tuesday. There is always something to do, something waiting, something that feels like it cannot wait. But my mother knew something I had forgotten, that the most meaningful moments of a life are not found in the rushing. They are found in the slow walk down a familiar path, and the pausing to look at an old rose, and the saying of things that have needed saying for a long time. If someone you love is moving slowly, do not hurry them. Walk at their pace. What they are moving toward may be more important than anything on your schedule. The second lesson is this: ask the people you love to tell their stories, and then truly listen. My mother had told me about my grandfather's rose many times. I had heard the story so often that I thought I already knew it. But when I asked her to tell me again that afternoon, something changed. I heard it differently. I heard the love in it, the longing for her own childhood, the quiet grief of outliving everyone she had grown up with. Our elders carry whole worlds inside them, worlds that will vanish when they are gone, unless we have the patience to sit with them and listen. Do not wait until it is too late. Ask now. Listen now. The third lesson is this: an ordinary afternoon can become the most precious memory of your life. I had made no special plans for that Tuesday. There were no cameras, no celebrations, no occasion. Just an old path, an autumn afternoon, and my mother in her blue coat. And yet it became the memory I returned to more than any other. Clearer, warmer, and more real than 100 things I worked hard to arrange. Life's most lasting gifts often arrive simply, without announcement. Be present enough to receive them. The fourth lesson is this: forgiveness and love do not always need big moments. Sometimes they need only a walk. My mother said she hoped she had been good enough. She said she was sorry. She wanted me to know she had loved us. These were not grand speeches. They were quiet words on a quiet path, and they healed something in both of us. Something I had not even fully known was there. If there are words you need to say to someone, or need to hear, do not wait for a special occasion. A walk will do. The fifth lesson is this: the time you almost did not give, give it. We are all busy. We all have things to do. The question is not whether we have time. The question is what we will do with the time we have been given. That walk cost me an afternoon. In return, it gave me something I have carried for 30 years and will carry for the rest of my life. The things we almost don't do are often the things that matter most. If there is someone in your life, a mother, a father, a friend of many years, a neighbor who is growing older, and they are standing at the door in their good coat, asking for very little, go with them. Leave the boxes in the spare room. Leave the phone on the table. Let the afternoon be what it wants to be, because someday, maybe sooner than we think, you will sit quietly in the evening and the light will turn gold outside your window, and you will be so grateful that you went, so grateful that you walked slowly, so grateful that you asked them to tell the story one more time, so grateful that you were there, really there, for that one ordinary, irreplaceable afternoon. The path is still there, the rose is still growing, and the people we love are still, for now, beside us. Walk with them while you can.